Welcome back to Vibe Vision, where we dive into the stories behind some of the most iconic cars in American automotive history. Today, we're rolling back the clock to the early 1970s to explore a machine that blended performance, luxury, and a touch of flair, the 1973 Chevrolet Chevelle Laguna. This car marked the beginning of a new chapter for Chevrolet's midsize legend, and while it may not be the most talked about model today, it's a fascinating piece of muscle car evolution that deserves its spotlight. The year 1973 was a big one for Chevrolet. The Chevelle lineup was completely redesigned under General Motors' new Colonnade styling theme, which aimed to combine sleek lines with improved safety and comfort. The Laguna took things a step further, sitting at the top of the Chevelle range and serving as the premium offering. It replaced the Chevelle Concours and was marketed as a sport luxury model, an interesting mix for a time when insurance rates, emissions regulations, and the oil crisis were starting to reshape the muscle car world. Let's start with the exterior. At first glance, the 1973 Chevelle Laguna looks noticeably different from the classic late 60s Chevelle that came before it. Gone were the sharp edges and aggressive, squared-off lines. In their place came smoother, more rounded contours that reflected the new decade's design language. The car's front end is perhaps its most distinctive feature, with its unique urethane front bumper that was color-matched to the body. This was a big deal at the time. Most cars still used chrome bumpers, but Chevrolet took a bold step by integrating the Laguna's bumper into the front fascia, giving it a cleaner and more aerodynamic look. That front end houses dual headlights framed by sleek bezels and a split grille design that gives the car a confident, slightly upscale appearance. The long, sweeping hood flows into a subtly curved windshield, while the roofline arches gently toward a short rear deck. It's not as muscular as the Chevelles of 1970 or 1971, but there's still a sense of strength in the car's wide stance and sculpted body sides. From certain angles, it even carries a hint of European Grand Tourer influence, something Chevrolet may have been aiming for to attract a more mature buyer. The Laguna's side profile highlights its generous proportions. It's a big car, over 200 inches long, but it wears its size gracefully. The wheel arches are pronounced but not exaggerated, and depending on the trim and package, you could find the car riding on stylish rally wheels wrapped in white leather tires. Chrome accents along the window trim and rocker panels add a touch of class, while the Laguna badges on the front fenders remind you that this isn't just another Chevelle. Around back, the rear bumper is still chrome, contrasting the front's color-keyed look, and the taillights are wide and horizontally aligned within a simple rear panel. The overall design strikes a balance between sportiness and sophistication, a hallmark of what Chevrolet was trying to achieve with this model. Now let's talk performance. By 1973, the golden age of raw, unfiltered muscle power was starting to fade, but the Chevelle Laguna still offered a range of engines that kept the spirit alive, at least to some extent. The base powertrain started with a 307 cubic inch V8, producing around 115 horsepower, which was more about cruising than bruising. But for those who wanted more excitement, Chevrolet offered several options, including a 350, a 400, and even a 454 cubic inch big block V8. The 454 was the top dog, producing around 245 horsepower and over 360 lb-ft of torque. Impressive numbers for the era of tightening emissions and rising fuel prices. When equipped with the 454, the Laguna had enough muscle to make highway passing effortless and to deliver that satisfying surge of torque that Chevelle fans loved. It wasn't quite the tire-shredding monster that earlier SS models had been, but it still had the soul of a performance car. The car could be paired with either a 3-speed automatic, a 4-speed manual, or Chevrolet's turbo-hydromatic transmission, which was popular for its smooth shifting and reliability. The Laguna's handling was another strong point. Thanks to its revised suspension geometry and solid body structure, the car offered a surprisingly composed ride. It was heavier than the earlier Chevelles, but the trade-off was improved stability and a quieter cabin. Steering was power-assisted and had a good amount of weight to it, giving the driver a confident feel. While no one would call it a nimble sports car, the Laguna could hold its own on a twisty road and felt planted on long highway cruises. Ride comfort was a key focus for Chevrolet, and that shows in how the car absorbs bumps and road imperfections. The Laguna was meant to be a blend of power and refinement. and it succeeded in offering a smoother, more isolated experience than most muscle cars from just a few years earlier. It was a car that could appeal to someone who still wanted performance but also valued a touch of comfort and class. Moving inside, the 1973 Chevelle Laguna's interior continued that balance of sport and luxury. While it wasn't extravagant by today's standards, it offered a well-thought-out cabin with materials and design that reflected its premium positioning. The seats were available in either vinyl or cloth, with optional bucket seats and a center console for a more driver-focused layout. The dashboard was redesigned for the new generation, featuring a sweeping instrument panel with easy-to-read gauges and a stylish two-spoke steering wheel. Chevrolet paid attention to details like sound insulation and comfort-oriented features. Depending on the trim, you could get air conditioning, AM/FM stereo, wood grain accents, and even power windows, all things that made the Laguna feel like a step above your average mid-size coupe or sedan. Visibility was good thanks to the large windows, and the rear seats offered enough room to make this a comfortable cruiser for 4 adults. The interior design might not scream muscle car, but that was the point. It was about sophistication and versatility. In many ways, the 1973 Chevelle Laguna marked the beginning of a new identity for American performance cars. It was less about drag strip domination and more about blending style, comfort, and respectable power into a package that could appeal to a wider audience. Some enthusiasts didn't embrace it right away because it symbolized a move away from the raw energy of the late 60s. But in hindsight, the Laguna represents an interesting transition period in automotive history. It paved the way for later performance luxury hybrids, and its design influence carried through the rest of the decade. Today, the 1973 Laguna stands as a unique collector's piece, not the most powerful Chevelle ever built, but one of the most distinctive. Its body-colored front end, elegant profile, and smooth driving character make it a fascinating time capsule of early 1970s automotive design. The 1973 Chevrolet Chevelle Laguna may not have burned rubber like its predecessors, but it carried forward the Chevelle spirit in its own refined way. It was a car built for those who wanted the look and feel of performance, wrapped in the comfort and style that matched the changing times. And in that sense, it succeeded beautifully. Thanks for watching Vibe Vision, where we celebrate the machines that defined generations and continue to inspire car enthusiasts around the world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1973 Chevelle Laguna, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because every car has a story, and we're here to tell it.